Welcome, people of Earth. We are back. We are back for another review and breakdown of Picard Season 2, but this time for Episode 3. I apologise that this episode is coming out late. As you can probably hear from my voice, I am suffering slightly from some sort of cold or flu or whatever that may be, the joys of children. But we are here, we are back, and we are ready to review. Let's start off by just talking about the episode as a whole. Again, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, but there were a few clankers in this episode, which we will get to as we go through the breakdown. But a few things that were drifting slowly back to season 1, things we didn't want to see in season 2, and they were doing a good job of keeping us away from the crap that season 1 brought us. But there was a few clangers in here, but overall, I enjoyed it. It moved the story forward enough. I mean, it was pretty much a mid-season episode, episode 3, so a bit early for a mid-season type episode, but still I enjoyed it, and yeah, let's break it down. So we open up where we left off, with Elnor on the ground covered in green blood, with Seven's husband and the security guards holding their phasers at Jean-Luc and the crew, and Jean-Luc and Rios put down their guns. Everyone puts down their guns. They then, have words with them going, what the hell is going on here? Seven tries to pull rank on her husband and says, you fool, this is a mission, you're interfering. And her husband, her little husband, bang, whacks her around the face. I order. Instantly, Seven, boom, takes him down. Rios pushes another guy. Raffi gets one in. And then Seven, pew, pew, kills 2 of the security guards. Disintegrates them. Like with, completely disintegrates these guards. And turns the phaser on her husband, Raffi. She disintegrates Seven's husband. Clearly in a sort of revenge for shooting Elnor. But this is the first clanger I've got to talk about. Why did they kill him? In series 1, season 1, Seven said she really shouldn't kill people anymore. She doesn't want to do it anymore. She felt bad. She said that at the end of series 1. I'm not going to kill people anymore. And they just completely obliterated these people. Where was the stun setting? I think we saw Picard use it in the previous episode on some security people. And, yeah, I mean, they must have got these. I think they did take the guns off of the security guards. So that's the settings they had them on. And maybe they couldn't change them. But they probably could have took them out some other way. The old Star Trek fists to the back. But no, they completely disintegrated these men. But hey ho, I guess if they do change the pass, it won't make any difference really. But still, bit of a. Once they have taken back the ship, Picard says, "Rios, get us out of here." Raffi and Seven are trying to patch Elnor up, and the ship then starts getting shot at by 3. Galaxy class, I guess, Confederation ships. They're flying all about all over the place. Phasers going off left, right, and centre. Q appears and gives Picard a little bit of shit. He's only there for 5 seconds, just whispers a little something in his ear. Picard, just to distract him, just to get on his nerves, usual Q sort of stuff. And then Agnes is trying to hook up the Borg Queen. She's trying to plug her into the charger. We then see a mighty hit to the ship, and Agnes and the Borg Queen's tube that she's in, or like stasis sort of tube, fall to the ground. Agnes is sort of crawling around on the ground, and we just see the Borg Queen's head come round the corner. She's crawling. She has got no legs, as I mentioned in the last review, and she's crawling towards Agnes. Agnes is backing off slowly like they do in a horror film instead of getting up and running, because she does have legs. But the Borg Queen's slowly going over to her, and it's quite creepy. It was like a horror film. It was nice. I did like it. And then the Borg Queen goes, I'll take care of this. Don't worry about it. Fonzied it. tubes out of her back, lift herself up in the air like a mighty, mighty spider, plugs herself in, and whoom, she takes over the ship. Rios, he's lost power to the ship. Well, hasn't lost it. He's lost his power to it. She has taken control. She fires off a couple of green photon torpedoes by the looks of things, destroying the ships. She takes care of it. Don't worry, Borg Queen's in it. I don't know how. She must have had some nanobots in her that could go into the cannons and change what the torpedoes did. I don't know, did something. She took the ships out anyway, and then she starts sending them into warp. For some reason, Rios starts counting up the warp speeds because they're getting closer and closer to warp 10. Shouldn't go over warp 10. We've all saw what happened there with Lieutenant Tom Paris, where he turned into that lovely salamander creature. And they're slingshotting themselves round the sun like the plan that Picard came up with, that he'd said that Kirk had done previously. They're going round the sun, slingshot, faster and faster, and suddenly it all slows down. Time starts running backwards. A tear starts running back up. I think it's Agnes's face. And then they see a lot of lights and shoom, opening credits. After the credits, we then see that they are looking at Earth. Everyone is okay, apart from Elnor. Obviously, he's still in the back. And they're trying to work out if it is Earth. Is there any signifiers, because their instruments are down. They say the Borg Queen is down. Okay, can't see any colonies on the moon. We're probably there. Agnes says, yeah, the sort of pollution and whatnot indicates we're in the right type of area. Good stuff, we are back. They then start to crash towards Earth. They are in the gravitational pull. They don't have power. They're going down towards the planet. Rios is trying to get some sort of power going to get back up. Picard says, hey, give me the controls. Don't worry, I'll land this thing. Well, we'll crash land this thing. I'm on it. And they crash down. They're crashing down as Raffi is trying to save Elnor. He's all green-blooded everywhere. But they land on the planet. Once they're on the planet, Raffi is shouting, we need power. I need some power to get something working to save Elnor. It's the only thing that can save him. But they realise that the Borg Queen, is draining power from the ship to keep herself alive. They run over there trying to unplug the Borg Queen so that they can get the power to Raffi so she can keep Elnor alive with something or other. But they can't pull the tubes out the back. Rios says, wow, screw this. And he gets his phaser out and goes to pop her in the head. Picard stops him. No, you can't do that, you madman. We need her. She's our only link to this time. She knows what's going on here. You can't kill her. And we go to Elnor and Raffi, and he's coughing up green blood, and she's going, oh, it'll be all right, don't worry about it. He asks for a medallion that gives him comfort. She's reading what's on it. He makes his first joke, and as she turns back to him, he's gone. He brown bread. He dead. She's distraught, obviously, because they've obviously built up this very tight mother-son relationship over the couple of years that's passed between season 1 and season 2, clearly trying to make up for the estranged relationship she has with her real-life son, who we saw briefly in season 1 for no good reason, really. And he's gone. We then we cut to Raffi doing up a white body bag and pushing his body into some sort of morgue locker that they've got. Picard then says, come on, we need to press on. We cannot let Elnor die in vain. This is important. We need to get on with the mission. Raffi says, no, you should have killed the Borg Queen so we could have saved Elnor. Picard says, we couldn't. She is our link. She is what is going to maybe get us home. She's our link to the Watcher. She's our link to this timeline. And this is good. This is nice seeing Picard be logical and rational and saying what needs to be said. This is the case. There's no point all sitting around crying. They need to crack on with the mission. They haven't got a lot of time. You know, all we see in Discovery is crying, constant crying from people. So this was nice. This is Jean-Luc not taking shit from someone and saying, look, I know you're upset, but we need to crack on. Picard then says to Raffi, look, I know how you're feeling. And she says, no, you've got no idea how I'm feeling. That, again, was a bit of a clanger for me because Picard has known Elnor since he was a kid. Like, he's known Elnor a lot longer than Raffi has. So he has got an emotional bond with that young man. He's, you know, he probably was quite integral in getting him into Starfleet, into becoming a cadet. He gave him the book from Spock. There's a connection there. So he does know. But she says, you've got no idea. And then she starts having a pop at him about it being Q's fault that they're there. It's Q's fault why Elnor is dead. And that's what you and Q do, Picard. You play your games and you muck around with people's lives. And again, Picard, instead of just going, ugh, Picard stands up for himself and he says, no, that's what Q does. That's not what I do. It's what Q does. They then have a bit of a chat about time and what's going on. And Raffi says, if we fix this, will this save Elnor? Asks Agnes, the expert. Agnes says, I don't know. And Raffi goes, well, I'm going to go with that. That's my thought. That's my headcanon. If we fix this, we're going to save Elnor. I'm going to go and find the Watcher. I'm not going to wait for the Borg Queen to wake up. See you later. She walks off. Picard says she's too emotional to go and do this. Again, he's right. You know, this is a mission. You need to put your emotions to one side. And Seven says, I'll go with her. And Rios says, I'll go as well. Agnes then says to them, look, you need to be careful. You need not to stand out, not to go to any hospitals, not get involved with any police force. You need to adhere to the butterfly effect. You know, anything you do in the past, even as small as it could be, will have huge ramifications for the future. Rios is like, yeah, don't worry about it. She says, well, you can't take your phaser for a start. He's like, this. She's like, you can't take it. He says, all right, I won't. Picard then says he will be in charge of getting the Queen back up and running, and Picard and Agnes chat about how they can fix the Queen. Agnes suggests that she could hook herself up to the Borg Queen to become a bit of a collective, a mini collective with her. It seems like a crazy idea, and Picard rightly says, no way, Agnes, no way. We then cut to Rios and Seven and Raffi getting dressed in some clothes that might not look too out of place in 2024, because that's where they are. And they have a couple of little jokes with each other about, you know, the way that they're dressing. And they put their comm badges on and say, right, come on, let's get down there. I suppose you could go, well, they can't take their phases, but they can take their comm badge. But they've got to be able to keep in touch with each other, so they take a bit of tech. We then go back to Picard, and Agnes goes at Picard again about doing this mini collective with the Queen. I can go in her head. I can find out what she knows about the Watcher and fix her from within. Picard says no again. It's not good. It's not safe. Once you're in there, you don't want to leave. He says it's bliss in there. I don't think I've heard it being described as that before, but there's been Borg who have left the collective who have wanted to go back. But ultimately, Agnes convinces Picard. She says, you can monitor me, you'll be in touch with my subconscious, you'll be able to chat to my subconscious, something or other. And he goes, okay. Didn't take long to convince him. Didn't take him long at all. Seven, Raffi and Rios are then lined up on their on the transporter. Well, I guess they're just lined up actually anywhere. And Picard says, okay, you go do your thing, we'll do our thing. Let's get to work. Nice to see Picard in charge. And Agnes says, I'll try and get you to as close to where you need to be as possible. And as close to each other as possible, I guess. And they go, cheers. And then Picard does the for some reason. I don't know why it's not Agnes. She just said, I'll try and get you. I guess she's already punching the coordinates or whatever. But Picard does that. And away they go. Beamed out. Picard and Agnes then go and sit down next to the Borg Queen, and they're having a little chat, and Picard gets out the nice Borg tube and pops it in Agnes's neck. Does his, I think, his first assimilation. Nicely done. Once that's done, she's in there. She goes blank. And we cut to LA, shots of LA. And we get a horrible rendition of Mamas and Papas, California Dreaming, as we're getting different shots of Los Angeles. It's really hitting it with a hammer. Come on, like, the rest of the score has not been popular music from different decades. It's been Star Trek score. It's been nice. And then when they stick these songs in, it's like in the JJ movies where they had the Beastie Boys playing while Captain Kirk, young boy Captain Kirk, was driving his stepdad's car. Again, it sticks out, but at least he was playing it on a tape deck. This was just playing, and it's just the hack writing again, just going, well, they're in LA, California Dreaming. It's like, come off it. But anyway, we see some establishing shots of LA, and we see Raffi beam down. She gets down fine. We see Seven beam down. She gets down all right. She beams in front of a young girl, and the young girl goes, "Oh, are you a superhero?" And she goes, "Oh, keep my secret, wink." And then we see Rios beam down, but he beams down in midair and tries to grab hold of a fire escape, but he bangs his head, swings around, bangs his face on the ground, blood out of his mouth. He's knocked out. We then see Raffi walking through some sort of shanty town on the outside, full of tents, and she's like, "Oh, this is terrible." And suddenly there's a mugger behind her, a hoodie, if you will. He's wearing a hood, and he's got a gun, and he says, "Give me all your money." And she looks at him, and she's like, "Oh yeah, money." She has to remember money. And in season 1, she was moaning because Picard had his big luxury chateau and all his vintage furniture, and she lived in a trailer. It was very weird that she had to remember money. She then takes the mugger out very, very easily. Boom, boom, boom. Gets the gun off him and dismantles the gun. She dismantles the gun. How does she know how to dismantle a gun? Maybe she's a weapons expert from from past and future, and she just knows this stuff. But it was very weird. It's when you want, you know, your hero to look cool, they can just dismantle a gun quickly. But I don't know why she would be able to dismantle a gun from 2024 when it took her a second to remember that they had money in 2024. Anyway, she takes his gun apart, and she takes his wallet and takes his money. Seven turns up and goes, "Oh, you're getting in trouble already." She's like, "Well, we need money for the cause." They're going, "Can't find Rios, but let's go to this tower, this building. It's the highest building. We'll be able to scan the whole place and try and find the Watcher." So away they go. We then go back to Agnes and Picard, and Agnes is working her way through the Borg Queen, fixing her. But also, while this is going on, the Borg Queen is going through Agnes's psyche and peeking in rooms where Agnes doesn't want her to go. She goes into a sense of humor room, her anger room, her sadness room, and she's trying to express all these emotions. And Picard's being like this weird therapist, sort of, "Stay with me, Agnes." It's a little bit weird, but hey, they're trying to just get to the point that the Queen and Agnes start having a bit of a battle in Agnes's head. And suddenly the Borg Queen starts talking through Agnes, which is quite nice. And Agnes talks through the Borg Queen, who's hanging up behind Picard. And there's a little bit of a back and forth. The Borg Queen grabs Picard's hand as he's about to take the tube out of her neck. And he's like, "Who's grabbed me?" She's like, "Whose hand is this?" Agnes and the Borg Queen are like, "Mine, mine, 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 mine." They sound like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. And then he gets the tube and pulls it out of her neck. We then cut to Seven and Raffi. They are at the building that they need to go up to the top of. And there's a security guard. You can't go up to the top of just any old building. Bit of a schlub. And Seven starts to use her sexiness, her sex appeal, to get past this security guard. She says, "Oh, me and my girlfriend, we want to go up and have a picture taken because that's where we had our first date. And the other security guard let us do it. And he's not more fun than you, is he?" And the security guard sort of falls for it, and he goes, "No, he's not more fun than me. You know, hey, I'm a good time guy. You two go up there and take your photo, you lovely lesbians." And it's a bit weird. Again, seeing Seven, she never used to use her sexualness, even though she was extremely beautiful lady. That wasn't Seven's. Even though they did bring her into Voyager, apparently, because she was a beautiful lady and they wanted to ramp up the viewing figures, she was very smart. She was strong. She was intimidating. She could plan things. She was mathematical. She was fantastic. Seven. She didn't need to use it, even though she had it in droves. She didn't need to use her sexiness, her sex appeal. So it was a bit weird seeing her do that. But hey ho. You're getting this sort of glimpse of Seven where she hasn't got this Borg implant in her face anymore, and she's starting to enjoy this humanity that she's got. It was weird, but it was okay. We then cut to Rios being helped into this small little sort of backstreet hospital, and they say, oh, he's got no papers on him. He's knocked out, and they take him into an examination room, and there's a doctor, and she's very friendly, and she talks to him about how this is a hospital for people with no legal papers, immigrants. And he's dislocated his fingers. She fixes them in quite a nice way. She asks him to tell her his favourite story from when he's a kid, and he starts recounting how his mum worked. I think she worked at Starfleet, and he was only 8, and he went in a simulator, and he was better than all the other pilots. And as he's doing it, she undislocates his fingers, puts them back in place, and he's got a concussion. But they have this nice sort of back and forth, and there's clearly some chemistry between them. It was nice. I like Rios. She was very good. It wasn't punched down your throat too much. Yeah, it was a nice little meet cute over some broken fingers. As the doctor leaves the room, he does that, and he realizes his comm badge has gone. We actually saw it fall off actually just before he went in, and a little kid picked up his comm badge again. So comm badge, he's playing with fire here, butterfly effect, because his comm badge is lost, and he's in a hospital where specifically Agnes told him it's not a place he should end up. We then see Raffi and Seven on top of the building. They are using their tricorder to try and locate a watcher. Something pings up but then disappears, and then they find Rios's comm badge, and it's sort of clicking away, and Seven's like, why is it clicking away? What is that, Morse code? But it then cuts to the kid with the badge, and he's clicking on it, he's effing around with it, and then Rios appears, and he's like, that's mine, give it back. He's like, no, it's mine now, and Rios bribes him with some cookies that he can reach on top of a fridge. Well, clearly not Rios's cookies. And then the doctor turns back up, and she goes, oh, hey, stop that, you. No cookies for you. We find out it's her son. Nice little kid. And she goes, go on, away you go. Go and do your homework. No Rick and Morty for you. I should think so. The kid's about 11. I don't think he should be watching Rick and Morty, because Rick and Morty is foul. I love it, but it's disgusting. I don't think he should be watching it. But I recommend anyone watching this review to go and watch Rick and Morty, because it's fantastic. She then gets his badge, his comm badge, and Rios goes, can I have that? And she goes, no, I'm going to keep that here, because she wants him to stay because of his concussion. Back to Picard and Agnes and the Borg Queen. Agnes is passed out, and the Borg Queen then says, Locutus, and Picard looks at her, and they have a bit of a back and forth. It's the first time we've properly seen this new actress playing this Borg Queen do her thing. And it's nice, it's good. She's doing the sort of flirtiness that the other Borg Queens did in Voyager and First Contact. I don't think it's not as scary, the flirting, but it's still decent flirting. And she says to Picard, look, I want some things from you because you need information from me. He says, what do you want? She says, oh, new pair of legs, things like that. But she says, but first off, I'll take this ship. Picard looks shocked. We then go back to Rios in the hospital, and Rios is walking about. He's doing a bit better. But then banging on the door is immigration. They're arresting people who haven't got papers. They clearly know this hospital is a place where these people go. They're banging on the door. Rios starts trying to help evacuate people from the hospital. We then go back to Picard and Agnes. And Agnes, Picard says to the Queen, "You're not getting the ship." She goes, "You will give me the ship." She turns into Borat. Agnes wakes up and he says, "Yeah, the Queen's up. You fixed her. Well done. But she wants the ship. She ain't giving us what we need to know." And Agnes says, "Well, let's turn her off then." Picard's like, "Yeah, turn her off." And Borg Queen goes, "You ain't going to turn me off. You ain't going to turn me off. You need me. You need what's in my noggin. The probability of you giving me the ship keeps going up the longer this time span goes on, because you need what I know." Agnes looks at the Queen and says, "What is it that you know that we want from you?" And then the Borg Queen looks puzzled, and Agnes says, "Is it the coordinates for where the Watcher are?" And the Borg Queen realizes it's not in her head anymore. Agnes has, in this mini collective, she's taken that information from the Borg Queen, and there's quite a nice moment, and the Borg Queen realize Agnes has taken it, and she says, "What Agnes?" Which doesn't say Agnes, but she says, "What you have done is more difficult and vastly more dangerous than you can possibly realize." And Agnes says, "What's that?" And the Borg Queen says, "You've impressed me." And it's nice. It's quite a spooky little moment. And it's clear that the Borg Queen wants Agnes. She wants something to do with Agnes. What does she want from Agnes? Borg Queen usually wants someone, you know, Locutus, or whether it was Data or Janeway or Seven. She tried to get Seven back a few times during Voyager. But she wants Agnes. What's going to happen? Is Agnes going to get assimilated? Is Agnes going to become a Borg Queen? Is Agnes the Borg Queen we saw in episode 1 of season 2 Picard on the bridge of the Stargazer? Is that why she's wearing that, you know, that massive metal hood, so we don't know who's under there? The one who said "look up" to Jean-Luc. We're thinking it could be, you know, at a point we were thinking it was maybe Jean-Luc's mum, because of the way, because she said look up at the stars, which is what his mum used to say. But now, could it be Agnes? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say Agnes is that Borg Queen. Agnes loves robots. She works at the Daystrom, or she used to work at the Daystrom Institute. She was obsessed with Max Clifford. What's his name? Can't remember his name. The doctor who she killed, who loved, and she killed in the first one, who was obsessed with Data. Yeah, she's all about robots. So why wouldn't she ultimately want to become a Queen hybrid robot person? I think that's the Borg Queen. I think that's the one. We then cut back to Rios, and he puts on a doctor's coat and a stethoscope and goes to try and talk to immigration to steal the doctor, who he quite likes, away, going, "Hey, look, there's a right bleeder. I need you." And immigration spot him straight away. He's got broken fingers. They go, "You're not a doctor. You're a patient." Up against the wall. "You got any papers?" Of course he hasn't. So him and the doctor get arrested. Again, Rios. I love Rios. I really do. He's cool. But he's done everything that Agnes told him not to do. What a dick. What an absolute spanner. But hey, he's done it. And as he's being carted off by the authorities, we see his comm badge and we hear Picard's voice, and it's saying, "Rios, come in. Rios! Rios!" And boom. End credits. Whoo! Another action-packed episode. Lots going on. As I said, a few clangers. Didn't spot any Easter eggs, really. None that spring to mind. So, bit quiet on that, but that's fine. I don't need Easter eggs in every episode. As I said in the last episode of Ren Trek, I wanted them to stay in that time period where they were, part of this totalitarian regime. I did want to see them stay in that time period for a while. I did want to see an evil General Sisko. I wanted to see a few more bits. I wanted to see Garrick. But we didn't get it. We got this episode. It was fun. It kept the story going. Not a huge amount happened, but enough. And as I say, it's still good. It's still keeping me going. I'm still interested. I like the Borg Queen. I like the fact we're trying to find this Watcher character. This sounds interesting. And I like that Picard is still standing up for himself a bit. Yeah, it's some interesting threads being weaved throughout this. So overall, I'm sticking with it, and I'd suggest you do as well. I was going to say, I forgot to say spoilers at the start, so apologies if you watch this and there was spoilers, but there you go. So once again, thank you for joining us here on Rentrek. Sorry it was late. I hope you're enjoying Picard. I hope you're enjoying Rentrek. And join me next week for the next installment. And we will carry on going boldly forward with Picard Season 2. See you soon.